It's salvation for me. And I know it was God who told me to do that. Use what you have. And my friend Todd, he gave me this keyboard, and it was collecting dust in my garage. And I know I told you the story before, but I'm telling you again so that you're sure that it was God. It was always God. It was always God. And keep in mind, at this time, I swore up and down that God wasn't real. But I was, oh shit. Didn't mean to do that. Maybe God did that. I'm gonna tell myself that, because that's what we do over here. Can't help but be in the results committee. I talk about that a lot because it keeps coming back up. Everything I tell myself might eventually be the reality. And I really hate that, because it's usually not good. Maybe if I told myself something better, it would all happen the way that I wanted. Back to my original story of giving God the glory. I started doing stand-up comedy summer of 2016, and during that time I convinced myself that God was a fluke. I was going through a fuck God phase, you know. A lot of spiritual people go through that. And during that time I was most paranoid that I've ever been. I was going to the doctor, like, you know, I hate doctors. I was going to hospitals like every 2 weeks because I was so convinced that I had all this shit wrong with me. And I realized it was because, you know, I was doing what I was supposed to do. Finally following God's will. It was interesting. It was like I was following God's will by, like, discounting God. I say, no, he's not real, that's all a bunch of bullshit, right? Well, that resulted in me becoming convinced that, oh, I had cancer, and it's funny, like, how like, people, they'll tell themselves certain things, but they'll still believe in those things. They'll say, oh no, God's not real, but I still felt like I was being punished. Because I just discovered stand-up comedy. I was like 30 years old. This was after I turned 30. And I was like, man, I've wasted my whole life. And I felt guilty about that. And so I thought, oh, I'm being punished, so now I have cancer. So I was going to all these hospitals. And I started playing keyboard, like I just picked that up just randomly one night in my garage. I was like, dude, you should add that to your set. See what happens. What's really cool about God, though, you know, that's why they say God works in mysterious ways, because, like, a lot of the time he's working, you don't know it's him. You know, like, I could definitely feel that. And there were times where I would definitely think that, but then I'd be like, no, that's not what that is. But he just kept proving himself over and over again. But my belief in God reemerged shortly after this, you know, this concert that I went to. It was just, had this really horrible experience in Atlanta where I was just freaking out the whole time I was there. And I actually prayed that night, and I got what I wanted. I did, but I didn't. But it was like the weirdest thing. Because around that time, like, I was really like questioning politics and all that shit. And I remember the days that my political beliefs officially changed, and it was what was it? February 15th of 2018. So like the day after that shooting in Florida, I officially became a conservative. I know I thought I was libertarian, but that was stupid too. I'm way too passionate to be libertarian. Libertarians want to throw in the towel and just say, oh, live and let live, but that's dumb because, you know, abortion and, you know, too many people, like with that mentality, they'll accept a bunch of horrible things in our society that don't make logical sense. So, you know, I'm far too passionate to have that kind of belief. But anyway, I was saying something. Well, shortly after I became a conservative, I had a spiritual awakening on April 20th. And the reason why I had this spiritual awakening was because I noticed that I wasn't high. I couldn't help but notice that. It was like such a weird experience to not be high. I was a pothead at the time, so it was weird that I totally forgot that it was April 20th. Because that's kind of like our holiday, you know? Yeah, I totally forgot about it. And yeah, so I've had a lot of spiritual experiences that have really made me come to believe in Yahweh. He loves it when you say his name. Whenever I think of God, like when I say his name, his real name, Yahweh, I think of a cat purring. You know how a cat is whenever you pet them? And they're like rubbing all up on you and they're so happy that you're petting them. That's how God is when you say his name.